Well, good morning, everyone. I said the knowledge is going to be shared here. I hope it's going to be something good. The topic today is sensations and perceptions of the spirit. And I think it's interesting, this chapter, actually, the second part of the Spirit's book have like 4 books inside, 4 parts. And this is exactly in the second book of the Spirit's book, on chapter 6. And there's like a number of questions placed by Allan Kardec from question 237 through 257 that speaks exactly about the perception, the feelings of the spirits, how they perceive life, if they feel pain, if they feel anxiety, they feel remorse, they feel joy at the other realms of life, the other realm of life. But for us to start, I'm going to get a definition from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. What is the definition of death? And you have like few definitions here. The end of life, the time when someone or something dies, the ending of a particular person's life, the permanent end of something that it's not alive, the ruin or destruction of something. That's one of the definitions placed by the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. But we are spiritists. We are spiritualistic people. Not only spiritists, but spiritualistic people believe that life will prevail, will go on, not only here, but at the other realm of life. And before starting this talk, I want to bring as a reminder these 3 things. What is the human being it's comprised? So we have the spirit, which is the essence, the intelligent principle of the creation. We have the perispirit. I'm bringing this because we're going to talk about many aspects, and the word perispirit for the newcomers over here, I think it's going to be nice and interesting to understand how things are perceived by the spirit because of the perispirit. So we have the perispirit, which is the semi-material body, from the spirit, between the spirit and the body, which is the material, the dense, made of matter, the way that we perceive. So keep going. The first question that I mentioned on the Spirit's book that explains the perception, the sensations, and the feelings of the spirits, it's on question 237. And I am going to bring over here this question. And I'm going to place this question so people can answer. Let's see who is the courageous one. Once in the world of spirits, does the soul still have the perception it had in this life? What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yes. So I see you guys are attending the Spirit's book classes, yeah? And the answer is yes, actually is yes. And others that it did not have because its body was like a veil that obscured them. Intelligence is a natural attribute of the Spirit, but it is expressed more freely when it is unshackled. So, all perceptions are attributes of the Spirit and are part of its being. When it is clothed with a material body, perceptions only arrive through organic channels. In the state of freedom, however, they are no longer localized. What they are telling us is, here, when we are incarnated, we have perceptions according to the organs, the physical organs that we have. We feel cold, we feel hot, We feel that something is pinching us because the corpusculus of Meissner, Kreise, well, I don't know how to explain this in English. It's maybe Susanna can help. The sensors receptors. Okay. So we can feel this. They're all connected to the central system, and we perceive if it's hot, if it's cold. In the spirit, since they don't have the body, this perception is felt all around. It's something much more generalized that we don't know how to explain exactly. That's what the spirits bring to us. So every sensation could be more intense, could be more strong for the good or for the bad. So that's why the spirits sometimes they experience something extremely strong in comparison with someone that experiencing something incarnated, because we are limited. For example, if I feel pain, the pain in the spirit realm, it's not the physical pain because they don't have the physical body anymore, but it could be like a different kind of pain. It could be remorse, could be anguish, could be pains related to the moral aspects. And since the perceptions are attributes of the spirit itself, can it stop using them? I bring like a video of a movie. It's 1 minute video, it's The Sixth Sense. It's interesting how Hollywood is, little by little, it's getting there. And do you remember this part? I have to press here, yeah. You know what? Can you do this here? I have to be here. So the video shows a talk about this boy that is a medium, and with a spirit that he's a psychologist in the other realm of life, and he's going to tell the secret.
You're spoiling the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I want to tell you my secret now.
I see that, people.
I see dead people.
In your dreams? While you're awake? Dead people like in graves and coffins?
Walking around like regular people. They don't see each other. They only see what they want to see. They don't know they're dead.
How often do you see them?
All the time. They're everywhere.
Interesting, yeah? How Hollywood is getting there. And for the same question, the question 250 that Allan Kardec asked to the spirits, actually the answer, it might be confusing in conflict what we saw here, because of course when the boy brings us, like, they only see what they want to see. That's correct. Sometimes we are so focused in something that we only see what we are focusing. For example, how often we walk around on the street and we see like people like so immersed in their worries and their problematic, and sometimes we cross with a friend and the friend doesn't see us, and we're like simply in front of him like, hey, and he was like immersed in their own world. So this is how the spirit can perceive, a less evolved spirit can perceive life. But also a more evolved spirit, according to the answer that we are going to see here, because this is the answer for the 250, a spirit only sees and hears what it wants to. At least this is generally the case, especially for more evolved spirits, because less evolved ones frequently must hear and see what may be useful for their improvement, whether they want to or not. What does it mean? It means the more evolved spirits, they choose what kind of frequency, what kind of things they want to be involved. Of course they can see everything, but they are like, for example, we don't get involved in things that it doesn't good for us. I'm sure each one of us here have their preferences in terms of music, in terms of movies, in terms of subject, in terms of companions, people that we like, and we select what we want to see, what we want to be involved, what we want to be part of, because we have the freedom to choose. But sometimes the less evolved spirits, they are like so frivolous because they see everything, anything. Of course, we have, this is another lecture, and I don't want to go into this other subject so that we don't get confused. But this is exactly what I'm trying to say, is we select what we want to see, what kind of ambience we want to be part, what kind of program you want to see. So, make sense? Make sense? It's something like this. At question 257, Allan Kardec brings us a theoretical essay on sensation in spirits. It's 4 pages, and he summarizes everything from question 237 through question 236, and then 237 through 256. And 257, he brings a theoretical essay on sensation in spirits. And one portion I extract so we can see and read exactly, going back to the perispirit, because the body is the instrument of pain, if not its primary cause, at least its immediate cause. The soul has the perception of such pain, and this perception is the effect. The memory that it preserves of pain can be very acute, but this does not imply any physical sensation. What does it mean? We see, for example, in a case, we all know that individuals who have undergone an amputation feel pain in the limb that no longer exists. The limb is obviously neither the site nor the starting point of the pain. The brain itself has simply retained the impression. Likewise, we can assume there is something similar in the suffering of spirits after death. This is really interesting because it happens many times. I have a friend, has no legs, and he constantly is like, oh my God, I'm itching the air, because I have the impression that I'm itching that specific part, scratching. So memory, the mind plays something really interesting, because the perispirit, the biological, the semi-material body, it's there, and this plays a role interesting in tricking with the mind. So sometimes we think we have, but we don't have physically, but the mind, it's confusing us. An in-depth study of the perispirit, which plays such an important role in all spirit phenomena, such as in the state of the spirit at the moment of death, in the so frequent notion that is still alive, in the frightening situation of suicide, in those who have overindulged in material pleasures, and so many other facts have shed light on this question, providing the explanation that we are presenting here in summary. So this is another something that we have to pay attention. So the perispirit that we mentioned in the beginning, on the first slide, it's a very, very important agent and plays a role in all these phenomena, all these perceptions of the spirit. When a medium sees a spirit, the medium is actually not seeing a spirit, it's seeing the perispirit, the semi-material body of the spirit. So the perispirit is the link that unites the spirit with the matter of the body. The perispirit is also the agent of external sensation. So in the body, the sensations are localized in the organs that serve as their channels. When the body is destroyed, the sensations become generalized. And that is why a spirit does not say that it suffers more in its head than in its feet. So it's generalized. So it's the perception is more broadened. We can feel something more intense than when we are incarnated. So what happens? Let's bring here a case. Freed from the body, the spirit may suffer, but the suffering is not the same as that of the body. However, it is not an exclusively mental suffering either, like remorse, because the spirit may complain of being hot or being cold. The pain they do feel is not physical pain per se. It's a vague inner sensation of which the spirit is not always aware, because the pain is not localized or produced by an outside agent. It is a memory rather than a reality, but a very painful memory nonetheless. At other times, it is more than a memory, as we shall see. And that's the example. It's not here. Well, experience has taught us that the perispirit disengages itself more or less slowly from the body at the moment of death. During the first few moments, the spirit does not comprehend its situation. It does not think it has died because it feels alive. I want to see the picture. I lost a little. Sorry here. It sees its body at its side and knows that it is its own, but does not understand why they are separate. The state lasts as long as there is a link between the body and the perispirit. It means, in the process of disengaging the spirit with the body, there's this intermediary body here, which is the perispirit. More time, the longer the process take, of course, the spirit can feel the sensations of the impressions of what's happening with the body. Sometimes is a memory, of course, but sometimes is a real sensation in terms of perception of the spirit. Because whatever happens with the body, because of this intermediary body, which is the perispirit, the spirit captures, receives the impressions, what's happening with the body. A suicide once said to us, "No, I'm not dead," and added, "Even so I can feel the worms devouring me." Of course, the worms were not devouring the perispirit, let alone the spirit, but only the body. So, of course, the sensation for the spirit, it's pretty real. And as Allan Kardec brought to us, it's the worms are not actually devouring the spirit, because the spirit is the perispirit is semi-material and the spirit is immaterial. So that's interesting, how the perception, the sensations that the spirit can perceive, it's directly proportional to the level of awareness, of goodness, of evolvement that the spirit has had in his or her life. So this will actually determine how long, how fast this disengagement will occur. And in the case of a suicide, it's even worse, because the body has an amount of vital fluid which is given from God to the spirit to go ahead and to develop, to overcome, to go through the existence, the physical existence, no matter how difficult it is. When we interrupt this, killing ourselves, it's like this amount of vital fluid, it still resides, is still there in the spirit. So sensations can be perceived by the spirits, and whatever happens in one side can be perceived at the other side, giving us, giving the spirit an impact extremely painful by the perception of that spirit. We see in this book, Workers of the Eternal Life, dictated by the spirit, André Luiz, dictated to from the spirit André Luiz, dictated to the medium Francisco Cândido Xavier. There's like several cases of disincarnation, and they bring us the sensations, how the spirit perceive their life in the other realm of life. And one of the cases is this man very attached to material things, and because he was so attached to material things in his lifetime, the perception, the spirit, it's still linked to his body, because he is so like material driven. Everything in his mind was like, I want to make money, I want to do this, I want to save money, everything is linked to material things. So he was like still there on the grave. Of course, the spirit's like very attached to his grave, his coffin, his worldly possessions, and it's interesting. And the mentors there brought André Luiz on that cemetery and showing them, like, look how the spirit is perceiving their lives. They're still like there, attached to that thing, attached to the material things. Since the separation between the body and the perispirit was not yet complete, there continued to be a mental repercussion that transmitted the sensation of the body. It was the sight of what was happening within the body itself. The perispirit was still attached, producing an illusion which was taken as real. Thus, it was not a memory of the past occurrence. Its body had never been devoured by worms during life, but a current sensation. So he's actually feeling that sensation, because it's not a matter of memory, of course. Another case in the Workers of the Life Eternal, and this lady, she lived her life very spiritual lives. She was very detached from material things. She was like an angel on earth, helping others, doing the best she can. So she actually participated in her own process of separation, of dying, of disengaging from the physical body, due to the elevation, the moral standards that she had during her existence. We know that the more a spirit purifies itself, the more etherealized the essence of its spirit becomes. So that material influences diminish as the spirit progresses. That is, as its spirit becomes less coarse. That's the pronunciation, coarse? So this is really interesting because we see more spiritualized the person, less problem will this spirit will have in this process of disengaging the spirit from the body. And you will see the sensations, the perceptions, the feelings will be different than the ones that are very attached to matter, the ones that kill themselves, the ones that live life in a very harsh way. Start living with the knowledge that we are immortal spirits. We have seen that such sufferings are the result of the links that still exist between the spirit and matter. That the more the spirit is disconnected from the influence of matter, that is, the more dematerialized it is, the fewer painful sensation it will suffer in this process. Starting with its present life, it depends on the spirit itself to break free from the influence of matter, because it has free will and therefore the ability to choose to act or to not. Where your heart will be is, where your mind is, this is your treasure. So when we think, when we live life, of course, we live life, we have to make money, we have to work, we have to live accordingly with the human laws, the man's law. But with an objective that this is actually not our life. This is one stage of our existence. Actually, this is a fraction of our existence. And when we focus in this with more being mindful about this, we start doing and driving our actions in a different direction that most of the people are ruling their lives. Be more humane. I guess that's the word. Be more humane. Be more humane in applying the golden rule. Do to others what would you like to receive to you. Put yourself in other people's shoes. And sometimes we judge too much. We do things that actually it put us apart from our real nature, which is with compassion. Since we are God's creatures, we have inside of us an interesting seed. This seed of love with capital L. It's once we connect it with our essence, and because in Spiritism is actually an excellent tool, not only Spiritism, because we have many other religions that teach us how to live accordingly with the law of love, helping others, doing to others what we would like to receive. But Spiritism is not, it's the same, of course, but it brings us other aspects because it explains us with a little more details what actually happened when we are in the spirit realm, and all the sensations and the feelings and all that we can avoid because we understand. We use rationality and start using the rational. We can touch the heart, the emotional side of our spirit, and making the connection with this, because we understand what happens to us if we do this or if we do that, and God actually doesn't punish anyone. We are the one that punishes ourselves. We are the result of our previous lives, and we can be the masters of our destination depending on how we live today. And we understand this is a process of being aware, one step at a time, learning. Sometimes we fall, but be courageous and stand up again. Ask for forgiveness. Ask for compassion. Pray a lot. Establish the connection among the true realms of life. And with a lot of humble feeling inside of us, think that we are more frail than bad people. Oops, sarava. We are more frail than bad people. And understanding this, we can be more patient with us, be more patient with others, understanding more others when they do something wrong, putting ourselves, and who can actually know exactly what is the trajectory of a human being that commits something terrible in humans' eyes? We don't know. We don't know how was his or her past. We don't know. So learning how to judge less and to live more, loving more, and understanding more one another, we can start actually be more nice and sweet to others. Christ's invitations 2,000 years later, 2,000 years ago, is still very vivid and still echoes inside of our hearts. Let the spirit conquer its animal passions. Let it entertain no hatred, envy, jealousy, or pride. Let it cease to be dominated by selfishness. Let it purify itself through good sentiments and practice the good. Let it not give to the things of this world any more importance than they deserve. Thereby, even while in its corporeal envelope, it will have purified itself by detaching from matter, and when it leaves the body behind, it will not suffer any longer from its influence. In the conclusion, we have seen that their sufferings are always related to their conduct. It's the spirits. They must suffer the consequences, and that this new existence is a source of ineffable happiness for those who have taken the path of the good. Hence, it follows that for those who suffer, it is because they have wanted to, and they have only themselves to blame in the other world and in this one. And I remember when we have here the invitation from Christ is an exciting and vibrant today as it was over 2,000 years ago. And when the Gospel of John, we see, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Many people thought that come through me is simply believing in a character. It's not a character. When Jesus brought us, no one comes to the Father except through me. Through me, it means the love that He has for the whole humanity. He is the love, the incarnation of love per se. So when we see, blessed are the pure in hearts, for they shall see God. Pure in hearts, it's like dematerialized completely. Living here as humans, but with the perception that this is not our only life. Giving less importance to the material things and giving more importance to relationships. Because everything, every problematic that we have on the face of the earth, it's a relational problem. It starts in relationships. how we deal with our friends, how we deal with our partners, how we deal with our mothers and fathers, our sons and daughters, friends and colleagues. Do we know how to relate well with them? Sometimes we have people, difficult people, because we need difficult people to train our impatience, to train our lack of compassion. Because if we have someone fantastic saying, give me a hug all the time, we're not going to train what we have to train. So this is something really interesting that we have to pay attention. So Jesus bring no one comes to the Father except through me. It's not through a figure. It's through this law of love that he represents in a way that we still don't understand much. Now we are open for questions and sharing opinions.